Welcome to the ESPN Events Invitational from Disney World at State Farm Fieldhouse. Our Thanksgiving weekend, we'll see a champion crowned here at 1 o'clock. First, we've got Penn State clashing with the Rams of VCU. They're both looking to get out of this tournament with a victory this weekend. Our champion comes down to Virginia Tech and FAU. That's the big prize here at Disney coming up this afternoon. Hi, everybody. Dave O'Brien alongside my partner, Corey Alexander, looking far too sharp for 10:30 in the morning. An intriguing storyline here for game number one. Mike Rhodes, the Penn State head coach, used to be the man running the show at VCU.
Obi, this is truly a family affair when you think about this game today. Both these teams looking to get their first win in this MTE. However, Mike Rhodes, who spent 6 seasons as the head coach at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia, has a lot of ties still remaining with the program, but he's got a couple of guys along with him at Penn State that have some ties to VCU as well.
Well, you look at the transfers that he has available, and it doesn't get any better than Ace Baldwin Jr., who is the player of the year in the A-10, also the defensive player of the year.
Absolutely. You think about Ace Baldwin making the move from Richmond to Happy Valley and taking over, traveling with this coach Mike Rhodes and Nick Kern, who has been special in this tournament thus far. Both these teams looking to get their first win.
VCU coming in at 3-3, Penn State at 4-2. We look at the returnees, 4 of them, and key guys, including Zeb Jackson, 6'5" senior, averages about 14 points a game. Not seen there is Max Shoga, the 6'5" senior from Ukraine, and he's been their top scorer, 16 points, 5 rebounds a game. He's coming off 24 against Boise State.
Going to be interesting to see if Nick Kern or Ace Baldwin throw a blind pass to someone in a VCU uniform throughout this game.
Could be very understandable with that familiarity. And we're underway here at Disney World. Great to have you along. Hope your holiday was marvelous. We spent it right here. And Shoga will get the first shot up there. That won't drop for him. Pushed it up there. He's leading the Rams in scoring and three-point shooting and assists. He really does everything for them.
Yeah, he made the transition over from Utah Valley with his head coach Ryan Odom. When Odom got the job, of course, he stepped in and into a leadership role early for the Rams.
Here's Baldwin with it, and Shoga with the block. He's up early. He's very alert. Jackson underneath. Dipsy due for 2.
And good to see Zeb Jackson get going early. Struggled to shoot the basketball on Friday, but he's a guy that VCU needs to be able to get offensive production from.
Now, one of those returning starters and a guy with a lot of NCAA tournament experience. Here's Hicks to get a good look from 3. Couldn't bury that, but you can't ask for a lot more than that. VCU with a very diverse lineup. 2 Australians, a couple of guys from England, and as we mentioned, Shoga from Ukraine. He's outside the 3, and he'll draw the foul. And the Penn State foul will go against Nick Kern as he picks up number 1. Kern, the junior from St. Louis. Shoga's going to be a candidate for A-10 Player of the Year this year, don't you think?
I believe so. I mean, again, he's found a great situation going with his coach, Ryan Odom, to VCU. And he's got a green light. You'll see him take some shots where maybe you question whether it's a great shot or not, but Coach Odom has that type of confidence in him to knock him down.
Kwani taking it inside the paint and nearly lost it. Shot clock down to 5 here for the Rams. Bell will take it strong with a fall away. That's a sweet shot. Also a whistle underneath there. 18:25 to go here in the first half. So he had a foul too.
Bell getting into the painted area, the pull-up, able to finish over the top, and it's been a great start already for the Rams. And you got to imagine that there's some type of extra motivation if you're VCU in this game playing against your former head coach and Mike Rhodes. And, you know, that's one of the things that Ed McLaughlin, the athletic director at VCU, has done a great job of. He's had a number of coaches leave, but they've always had to schedule a game to come back to Richmond to take on the Rams. Well, this one's happening a little bit earlier than I'm sure Mike Rhodes intended.
Strong move to his left by Qudus Wahab, the 6'11" grad from Nigeria, who came to Penn State for a 5th year, 3 years at Georgetown, then 1 at Maryland, then back to Georgetown, and now at Penn State. And some really good schools along the way.
Oh, yeah, some great schools along the way, and he's came into this tournament averaging a double-double. His production has dropped off a little bit here against this great competition. He's still someone that Mike Rose is going to need strong performances from.
Pass intended for Furman, and on the loose, here's Wahab. That'll be knocked away and lost it.
And that's just like shooting fish in a barrel. Whenever you see a big guy dribbling the basketball down the floor, immediately all guards are thinking, oh, I'm getting a steal. I'm going to attack this. Zeb Jackson does a great job retreating on that play, knocking it off Wahab and retaining possession.
Could be a little unfair sometimes when you see that develop.
It can be.
Jackson, yes, he gets two. Zeb Jackson from Toledo, Ohio, the senior.
Jackson only 3 of 12 and 0 for 2 from beyond the three-point arc on Friday, but you see already off to a much better start. But he got that early layup, which gets that confidence going.
Hicks trying to get down close. Wahab with 9 to get off a shot. Hoisted up there, but can't connect. And Penn State, before falling to Texas A&M, and then Butler here in Orlando got up to a good start. They got out to a 4-0 start. They're whistling a foul in the lane. Penn State had to replace 95% of their scoring, 98% of their three-point baskets. The foul will go on Kanye Clary. He'll pick up number 1.
And Zeb Jackson has been extremely aggressive to start this game. We talked about it. We highlighted in our opening. Jackson was a member of the VCU Rams tournament team a season ago under Mike Rhodes. Mike Rhodes actually recruited Zeb Jackson when he transferred from Michigan. So he came to VCU to play for Mike Rhodes. I'm sure he's thinking to himself today, I'm going to show Coach Rhodes why he brought me here. And again, he'd already transferred from Michigan, so I don't think it was an opportunity for him to go to Happy Valley.
He was on 2 NCAA tournament teams at Michigan and another one at VCU last year. So talk about a guy who's battle tested. Is it stranger for the players or the head coach, in this case Coach Rhodes today, to coach against guys that he recruited?
I think it's way more pressure and probably bothers Mike Rhodes more so than it does anyone else, because he's looking at a lot of young men on both sides that he's rooted for and has a lot of love and respect for. So very difficult for Mike Rhodes to actually have to coach this game, especially knowing that he's 0-2 in this tournament and looking to get a win.
There's a lot of emotions tied up in that too, as Baldwin fires it up there, but a whistle underneath. 16-11 to go here in the first half, and they're going to get Shoga for the foul.
And Obi on the other side, it's motivation for players. We've seen Zeb Jackson. I mean, I watched this game Friday, and not that he played bad, but he didn't have this level of aggressiveness to start the game off. You can see that, he's got a little extra motivation in this one. I think we'll see the same thing with Fats Billups when he checks into the game. Well, he's actually in now. And the other guys who were a part of that Final Four, that NCAA tournament team a year ago for VCU. And it's up to the Penn State guys, not just Ace Baldwin and Nick Kern, to be able to match that energy, knowing the motivation that the VCU players have coming into this one.
Ace Baldwin, another one coming, 79% foul shooter. That rolls off the iron as well. VCU on top by 5. We talk about the emotions. These are coaches who don't just recruit guys, put them in uniform. Get to know families. Get to know moms, dads, brothers, sisters, grandparents. And bringing a kid to a program encompasses all of that. And then when you walk away, when you get another job, you're still connected to your former program.
You absolutely are. I mean, you think about, there are guys on this VCU staff, as you see the Rams getting after defensively, Bell's going to get that foul. However, did a great job sliding his feet as the Rams are locked in early.
Bell with the foul, 15:42 to go here in the first half, our first break. VCU leading Penn State 7-2 here in Orlando. Great to have you with us from Disney World and ESPN's Wide World of Sports and State Farm Fieldhouse. Championship coming up later on today. That's at 1 o'clock. How are you looking at that game now? Virginia Tech, FAU for the title.
Well, you got two great backcourts when you think about Sean Padula and Hunter Couture for Virginia Tech, and then you think about what Jonell Davis and Elijah Martin were able to do in their semifinal matchup. So you're going to have some great backcourts. The question becomes, can Virginia Tech deal with Vlad Golden up front? I think Golden has been special for FAU this season. Does Virginia Tech? Lynn Kidd has had a very good year, but Golden has really taken that leap. But the experience of that FAU team could play a factor here, especially when they're closer to home in Orlando. But we can't forget that Hunter Couture is from here also. So it's going to be a great matchup.
Orlando Kidd. Look at the VCU head coaches from 09, starting with Shaka. Ryan Odom, the son of Dave Odom, the former South Carolina and Wake Forest head coach, won over 400 games.
Yeah, when you think about the coaching tree at VCU, now this is the first time that VCU has actually gone outside of the family in a very long time to be able to get a coach. Shaka Smart, of course, Will Wade, and Mike Rhodes, all a part of that 2011 coaching staff that took them to the Final Four. So this time they went outside the family, a great Villa 7 program. Ooh, that's the guy we got to watch out for today, OB. Toby Lawal, elite athleticism. They claim that he has a 49.5 vertical leap.
The slam. Lawal right on cue.
I don't know if 49.5 is legit, but I know that he can fly.
Odom says he's an NBA caliber athlete. And he just made a couple of plays in one series to make you think, he might be onto something.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to get to the NBA Combine, as Ace Baldwin gets an easy one going down the lane. But I can't wait to see Lawal get to the NBA Combine so they can truly test that vertical leap.
6'8" from London, England. NBA Combine, highest vertical leaps now. Yeah, you're talking about another realm.
Yeah, you're talking about, and at 6'8", you're talking about clearing the highest ever by 1.5 inches. I'm not saying that it's not true, but I know that the testing for it, they had to put the measurement, as Ace Baldwin does a great job defensively against a former teammate in Fats Billups, and causes the shot clock violation. But they had to use the normal measuring, let's just call it measuring stick for a lack of better term. They had to put it on top of boxes in order to be able to judge it, because he was clearing the actual measuring stick from the beginning. So maybe in the putting it on top of boxes, 1 inch or 2 got lost as far as in the measurement there. But
that's impressive. It's an impressive note. They had to make that kind of an adjustment.
Absolutely impressive.
Because the technology wasn't containing him. That'll rattle in by Dunn. DeMarco Dunn, the UNC transfer, will make it a 9-7 game. Shogun on the outside. Nifty feed here for Bell. Furman will get a good look. Bell tips it away, and it's going to be controlled by the Nittany Lions. They went to the NCAA tournament last year, of course, and won a game in the tournament as well. There's Dunn. Oh, it's going to be a tee as well.
And that is the absolute right call. Rick Crawford right on top of that, as Dunn knocks down the 3 and immediately turns and has something to say to the VCU bench. Mike Rhodes meeting him at half court. And Mike Rhodes looks at the officials, tells them, we got it. We'll make sure that we got it under control. But we saw this as a part of the Texas A&M Florida Atlantic game, and the officials doing a great job early, not letting it get out of control.
I think the crews here, the officiating crews, have been really good all through this weekend. And as you said, they have been kind of clamping down on this one, the trash talking. So VCU will have 2 shots. They'll also have the basketball with 13:10 to go in the first half. Penn State taking the lead on the Dunn shot, but then putting himself in some hot water.
Yeah, when you return the favor, you knock down a 3, but you give away another possible 2 points on the technical foul. It kind of negates the great work that you did, but it also counts as a personal foul for DeMarco Dunn there. So, and again, you you want your guys to be able to play with emotion, but you have to understand to stay within the lines. And turning and facing the opposing team's bench, that's going to be taunting each and every time.
But I like the way Mike Rhodes came over to DeMarco very calmly, put his hands on his shoulders, spoke to him very quietly. You know what he's saying. He's saying, hey, we don't do that.
Well, Mike Rhodes was a player. So the fact that he was a very good player at Lebanon Valley, he understands what it's like to be in these guys' shoes, the emotion that's played with. But as a coach, you also have to understand that you're leading young men. And again, this is a mistake that Dunn won't make again throughout this year. So it's better to get it out the way early, have that conversation, and now it's over. It's a teachable moment. But I don't think that'll be something we see from DeMarco Dunn for the remainder of this season.
VCU taking the lead back at 11-10, and they'll have the basketball after the technical.
And Obi, one thing I'll tell you as a former guilty party of this, there's a lot of talking that goes on the basketball court. And please believe, when Dunn shot that three, there were things said on that bench that made him turn around and react. But we all know it's the person that normally reacts that gets in trouble.
Shoga off the fake. Another fake, gets it in the air, can't connect. Tough rebound by Furman. Knocked away, and he'll commit the foul. Mitchell got in there and scrapped for it. Well, some of the greatest players in the history of basketball have been the best trash talkers ever seen.
When you say some of, I'm trying to think of who you're excluding. All of.
All of, okay.
All of have been the greatest.
100%.
Yes.
So it's a question of when you do it, I guess. And if you are one of the greatest players of all time, you're going to get away with a lot more.
You get away with a lot more when you're one of those guys, but you also get away with a lot more of it in the NBA than you do in college basketball.
Sure.
That's the difference.
Dunn will give it up, and VCU will have it back, leading by 1 point. And to me, those are some of the most fun stories to hear years later. You know, guys who played in the NBA. Just take Michael, for example, who was off the charts as a trash talker. Incredible. And you hear the story. The stories are even better than what you thought.
Obi, the first time I met Michael Jordan, as we get a pass over here, the first time I met Michael Jordan, I'm sitting in a locker room, and this is the summer of 1995. And we're playing in called the world's greatest pickup game. My guy Fred Whitfield does it in Greensboro every summer. And of course, as a 21, 22-year-old, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I'm in the same locker room as Michael Jordan. He doesn't say hi. He immediately starts talking trash to me from the start. You Virginia guys, you this, that, and other. And again, he forces you to have to talk back to him. Otherwise, he doesn't respect you. So you're 100% correct.
But he was testing your trash game.
Absolutely. It has been great to me my entire time knowing him. But I know as soon as I see him, I better be ready to talk that talk.
Jackson off the window for two. Seb Jackson, 6'5" senior, to make it 13-10. That must have been extraordinary, though, to be sitting in the locker room. And here comes, for my money, the greatest player who has ever put sneakers on.
Well, your money is good money because he is absolutely the greatest player to ever put sneakers on. And it is a great feeling to, one, that he actually knows you.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Ace Baldwin getting his bucket going on the other end of the floor. This game is starting to pick up. And, Obi, this is not a 10:30 a.m. AAU game here at the Wild World of Sports. These two teams are getting after. There's a lot of personal business being discussed on this floor.
Baldwin lines up a long one, and it rolls off the iron for Ace Baldwin. 12 points against Texas A&M, 15 against Butler. He's had a pretty good tournament. Although Penn State without a win here, VCU without a win. And you don't want to come all this way and play 3 games and wind up with a donut. You want to get home with a W in the worst way, and that's one of the reasons a 10:30 game like this doesn't really feel like it.
Yeah, but the reality behind it is someone has to leave 0-3.
Jackson, that didn't touch a thing. So a 1-point game. Ryan Odom's team, now his team, up against Penn State. And Mike Rhodes, the former VCU head coach. That is a very big week coming up on our ESPN family of networks, the ACC-SEC Challenge. I know you're off to Charlottesville for a really good one this week at the University of Virginia. I am headed to Lexington from Miami and Kentucky on Tuesday. with Jay Billis.
That's going to be a great matchup. You want to talk about guard matchup. You think Nigel Pack, Wooga Popular, Bensley Joseph against Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepard, and DJ Wagner. I mean, that is going to be a battle of the guards going on in Lexington. But I can tell you right now, Norchad O'Meara in your game most likely will be the difference maker. Can Kentucky's front line defend that big guy?
That place is going to be packed. It's going to be rocking and rolling in Rupp Arena. Always a special place to see a game, certainly one of that caliber. And a lot of these ACC, SECs are going to feel like NCAA tournament games.
They absolutely will. This one feels like an NCAA tournament game when you're talking about just the rivalry between these guys. You've got 6 players on this floor who have been teammates and now playing against each other. There's one of them right there, Nick Kern, attacking the basket, which everyone on both rosters know he's most likely well, I shouldn't say he's the best athlete, because with the law at VCU, he's got somebody that can compare to him now. But these two guys, elite athleticism. But Nick Kern Jr., who was part of that NCAA tournament team a year ago for Mike Rhodes and VCU, playing against former teammates in Zeb Jackson.
Christian Furman will pick up foul number 2. And the first one will roll off here by Kern. Well, VCU turning the ball over a lot here in the early going. 6 already. They had 16 against Iowa State. They had 14 against Boise State.
And Roosevelt Wheeler checking into the game. Transfer from Louisville a season ago from Richmond, Virginia. Played high school basketball at John Marshall High School. Shout out to Ty White, the 2023 Naismith National Coach of the Year at John Marshall High School in Richmond. So great things happening in basketball in the city of Richmond right now.
Yeah, for this VCU team, you get 4 Richmond natives on the roster.
One of them not available to play today, Jay Nell, a.k.a. Jason Nelson.
Wahab with the block, but a second chance Jackson, undaunted, goes right back inside, and Wheeler just in the game gets 2.
And a great job by Wheeler stepping in and making immediate impact, getting himself in position to receive a nice pass from the teammate, and more importantly, finish through the contact.
Puff Johnson to his left, off the window. Nicely done.
And Puff Johnson was great on Thursday. Didn't have the similar type of production on Friday for Penn State. Mike Rhodes looking for a consistent effort coming off the bench from Puff Johnson. Puff off to a good start here.
Yeah, had a good one against Texas A&M at 15 points. They need him to score. Kwani in the lane. Yes. The 6'9" grad from Melbourne, Australia.
That's it. We got another technical foul, I believe.
Well, they're clamping down here.
I believe so. Kwani with conversation after the shot, scores over top of Puff Johnson, and then has something to say. And again, I respect this, because if you're going to call it on one end, you call it on the other. I love the fact that Courtney Green stepped in immediately, but what it does, it sets the tone for everyone else on the floor. Get your bucket and keep playing basketball. Let's limit a lot of the conversation that's going on. And I can guarantee you that Ryan Odom and Mike Rhodes both respect that as well, the officials being consistent.
So Baldwin at the line, 79% foul shooter. And knocks this one at 17. And Penn State will have the basketball as well. Game 1 today. Championship coming up at 1 o'clock. That's between Virginia Tech and FAU. FAU with that incredible run to the Final Four. And I know there's a tendency to think, okay, that's a great story. That's a Disney World kind of romp to the national championship semifinals anyway. And yet, here they are again, looking very talented. Got so many people back. Got 14 guys back.
Yeah, returned 14 of their 15 players from a season ago. And guys, even though they're back playing in different roles oftentimes now. You think about John L. Davis and Elijah Martin, both those guys tying as an American Athletic Conference preseason player of the year. And also we have to mention the fact that this is the first year for FAU in the American.
That's correct.
They won the Conference USA a season ago, and now in a new conference for them. So as their coach, Dusty May, said, new season, new chapter, new team, and they're playing very good basketball right now.
Well, their backcourt the other day, as you mentioned, only combining for 51. Other than that, they didn't do much.
That's all. With just those two guys.
Just those two.
So their backcourt with Gaffney and
Gaffney
Greenlee
had 12 as well.
Jumping in there.
That's
yeah,
right.
And their starters did the majority of the damage, where normally it's a team that goes strength by numbers.
Kern rattles that one in. Penn State gets the pair, 19-17. Bell on the drive, wants to take it to the cup and flips it out. Here's Jackson. 8.5 to go in the first half. Zeb Jackson, yes, and one.
He has been awesome attacking downhill, getting to the rim. We mentioned only 3 of 12 in their Friday night matchup. Zeb Jackson off to a much better start here. And he's done his damage getting into the painted area. It's a young man who tore his ACL his senior year of high school. Spent time having to watch at Michigan, and now you can see he's healthy at VCU and playing a great brand of basketball.
Short, looking for the three-point play. Wheeler jumping in, and a tie-up. Possession arrow will go to the opposite end, so it'll be Penn State ball in a 19-19 game.
Wheeler's had good production in limited minutes thus far. He stepped up big for VCU. That's a small thing, but it ends up being huge. When you change that possession arrow, especially in a dead ball scenario, that works.
Ace Baldwin keeps on trucking. Yes! But hung on the iron and dropped in for him. 2-point game.
Ace Baldwin doing what he's done for now 3+ seasons in college basketball. We mentioned the A-10 Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year a season ago. So both these coaches know what he's going to do, and they also know what Max Sugar's going to do.
That's a 2. Makes 42% beyond the three-point line as well. Here's Baldwin. At this time, batted around and picked off by Jackson. He wants to push the tempo here for the Rams. And going in strong, he'll draw the foul.
When we return, OB, we got a special guest with us. VCU Athletic Director Ed McLaughlin is going to join us on the set, talk about this matchup.
Well, good one here for a 10:30 a.m. start. Penn State and VCU on top 21-21. They are deadlocked here with 7:29 to go here in the first half. Ed, thanks so much for stopping by. We appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Now, we're talking about Mike Rhodes leaving VCU, going to Penn State, and here we are playing each other, you know, at 10:30 here at Disney World. What's the deal as far as your head coaches, former head coaches, getting to play you again?
Yeah, we have a deal in every head coach's contract that if they decide to leave and they go to a different place, we guaranteed a home-and-home series with them coming up. So it won't be this year, obviously. We got them here today. You know, the sports gods have a funny way of handling things, don't they? But you know, we'll start that in the next couple of years, and it's just a good way for us to get home games. At our level, it's really tough to get Power 5 home games, so it's a good way to do it.
Well, it's really tough for you guys to get Power 5 home games because they lose when they come into the Siegel Center in Richmond, Virginia. And when you think about that, you had great success against former coaches coming back when Anthony Grant left and went to Alabama.
Yep.
He lost when he came back to VCU. Yep. You had an opportunity. You didn't beat Shaka Smart when he came back, but you went to Austin to beat Shaka Smart when he went to Tennessee,
great game.
Texas, correct?
Yep.
So you guys have had great success versus your former coaches, and now you're seeing today, this is kind of what you said, this was the game you were expecting coming in, playing against Mike Rhodes.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, you know, Mike did a terrific job for us during his time here, and you know, happy to see the success that they're having, especially the guys, Ace and Nick. You know, we miss them. Certainly happy for them. But we knew it was going to be a really good game, and both teams are going to be playing hard as can be, especially our guys who played for Mike and that staff. I'm sure they feel they have something to prove as well. So, hopefully for a 10:30 on a Sunday morning, it's a pretty good basketball game.
And a rare occasion where you guys went outside the program. You went after a coach in a different part of the country, and that's obviously going to work out well because you've had great success bringing coaches in wherever they are. But this is a little bit different for you guys.
It's much different, and it's a different way for us to play. Obviously, when Coach Smart was here and Coach Wade and Coach Rhodes, much different style of basketball, and offensively and defensively. So it's different for our fans. We get 8 new guys as well, so that's been a lot of difference. Our fans just learning our team. But I really like our team. I really like our coaching staff's done a great job so far. Certainly embracing the Richmond community as well.
You speak about that Richmond community. 4 guys from the city of Richmond on this roster at VCU. That's been one of the staples of this program for as long as back as I can remember when Sonny Smith was there in the early 90s. You talk about guys like Bradford Burgess now on your staff, and Brandon Rozelle, who was on that 2011 Final Four team on Penn State staff with Mike Rose, but the great tradition you guys have built in Richmond.
Well, it's great. There's so much good high school basketball in Richmond, as you know, Corey, better than anybody. I mean, the talent level is so great. So we can keep good players home. It certainly helps our fans embrace the program as well, and having local players play on it. So the buzz has been terrific so far.
Well, it doesn't hurt with that $50 million practice facility you guys built.
Yeah,
right on Broad Street.
It's nice. Yeah, I mean, it's still one of the best 5 practice facilities in the entire country, pro or college. So we've been really fortunate for our men's and women's programs to have that type of facility.
And yet you have a diversity with this team. You've got guys from Australia, London. Max Shulga's from Ukraine.
Yeah, it's wild. It's very different than what we've been. We're much more internationally balanced, as it were. We get a bunch of Richmond guys, and we get a bunch of foreign guys, and we got a couple others sprinkled in. So it's much different dynamic than we've had in the past, and then just them getting to know each other and all the cultures has been a real challenge in a fun way. But it's a really good group of guys, and they really get along well, and they like each other, which, as you know, that's part of the key to basketball is that the team's got to like each other and like playing with each other. So it's been good.
Absolutely. What was it about Ryan Odom? We've mentioned the fact that you kind of went outside of the family dynamic that has been the case at VCU over your previous 3 coaches. What was it about Ryan Odom that said he's the guy to lead our team into the future?
Ryan's been a winner everywhere he's been. Even at Division II when he was at Lenore-Ryan, he took them to the NCAA tournament. And he took, obviously, UMBC, beat a team out in Charlottesville that you may have heard of before.
Well, we got to talk about old stuff.
That 16-1 game, But even going to Utah State in a short period of time took them to the NCAA tournament, right? So, Ryan's been a winner, and I thought really, too, us playing a different style of basketball, offensively, I thought was going to be really important, and Ryan obviously does that with it.
Bill's got a good look from three-point land.
Good to get him going.
Yeah, speaking of Richmond, Fats Billups out of Verina High School stepping up, knocking down the 3. And then have you seen that this is a group that's playing really with even more of a chip on their shoulder, being that they're playing against their former coach, especially when you talk about a guy like Fats or Zeb Jackson.
Yeah, and it's a fine line, right? You don't want to be so geared up that you don't play with a clear head, right? So, but there's certainly our guys were excited about it, when it happened the other night. And, hopefully it continues to go well for them today.
And, Ed, you went to school with a couple of our great colleagues, Bob Wischusen and Boog Shambi at BC at Boston College. What was that like, and how did you survive it?
It was not easy, I can tell you that, because I was the young guy in the group. So I went through a little bit, I don't know if I'll call it hazing, but I certainly went through that with them. But, it was at a time when, they would argue, and we would be part of it, whether or not someone could dribble with their left hand in the NBA. And the arguments would get so heated because those guys, and Joe Tess was in that group too, those guys are so smart and so sports knowledgeable, that it's just insane. So, I'll never forget, it was like an argument whether D. Brown could dribble with his left hand when he was playing for the Celtics, and it was like they almost came to blows. I mean, that's how it was. But
and don't even get Boog started with analytics.
I know.
You'll get buried on that in about 5 minutes, and you won't know you even lost the argument.
Exactly right. No, but they're super talented guys, and just to see them having success has been awesome.
They're two of the all 3 of those guys.
Yeah.
Really a credit to what we do. Ed, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. Continue continued success at VCU, and this is a really interesting team.
Yeah, it really is. It's fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing us get healthy and grow together, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate y'all.
Enjoy the rest of the stay here in Disney World. Here it's 29-25. VCU in the lead, and at the line, Max Shulga, 6'5" senior, coming off 24 points on Friday against Boise State. Also 8 rebounds and 3 assists. And drops in the first. And of course, still to come, as mentioned, our championship game at 1 o'clock. That'll be Virginia Tech and FAU for the title of the ESPN Events Invitational. Shulga makes the pair. And a little bit of breathing room here for the Rams.
Yeah, VCU must have known that their athletic director was on air with us. They decided we got to put on right now.
I think you're right.
We got the big guy on the microphone.
They've made their last 7 field goals.
And they've done the job defensively as well, but you can tell they're locked in. And we talked about the guys from Penn State having to be able to match that energy. And Ace Baldwin, Nick Kern have done that. The guys who have been a part of both these programs, but they haven't gotten a lot of help from their teammates in matching that energy. Kanye Clary hasn't been very involved in this first half at all for Penn State. Their leading scorer coming into this game, averaging 18 points per game, so they're going to need more production from others outside of Ace Baldwin and Nick Kern.
Kwani just picked up foul number 3. 6'9" for the Rams, so he's going to have to take a step to the bench. And Michael Bell is 6'7", freshman from London, will take his spot in the lane. 5:10 to go. And Baldwin with another one coming. Ace Baldwin, he's a nominee for the Bob Cousy Award, which goes to the top point guard in college basketball every year.
Small things in this game. Ace Baldwin makes the free throw. Just runs back and recognizes his former teammate, Zeb Jackson, behind him. Oh, as his other former teammate, Fats Billups attacks the basket and turns the ball when it says, "You're too small, you can't guard me."
Freshman 6'7", one of the top 100 recruits in the country. Baldwin looking to answer. Gives it up here for Dunn, and he will knock down a 3.
And no conversation to the bench, the same spot for DeMarco Dunn. He learned his lesson, so he's going to keep those 3 points and not give away any on the other side. That's
right. He was hit with a technical foul for jawing at that bench after hitting a 3 very early in the game. Both sides have had one of those. Shulga giving it up for Jackson. He then sets a screen. Shot clock at 7. Jackson between the legs. And some shoving there on the baseline and the foul. With 4:14 to go in the first half, Toby Lawal will be hit with a personal, a 3-point lead.
Obi, we couldn't have asked for more than this. You've got former teammates going at it, playing against each other, letting them know they're too small, and new faces in new places. DeMarco Dunn to North Carolina transfer, stepping up, knocking down his second 3 in front of the VCU bench.
Now Leo O'Boyle will go to the line. The 6'7" grad, good 3-point man. Had a solid career at Lafayette before Penn State.
He helps Penn State stretch the floor, can shoot the basketball from beyond the 3-point arc, opens up things for his teammates on the interior by just taking away so much pressure from the defense and account for where he is beyond that arc.
So cuts it to 1. Pretty spirited effort here for the 7th place game.
It really has been. I don't think he could have scripted this any better.
Zeb Jackson wants to make a move around the back. Still with it. Now leaning in and left it short. So he did everything except make it. Penn State trying to grab the lead here, under 4 to go. Baldwin not there. Jackson, the senior, back for Shulga. He's bodied up and fouled by Dunn. That'll be his second foul. We'll take a break right here. 3:34 to go in the first half in Orlando. VCU by 1 at Penn State. Tremendous shot overhead of Disney's Wide World of Sports, the great athletic complex here. If you play it, you're going to play it here. Well, Tuesday, 2 featured ACC, SEC challenges come your way on ESPN. We've got number 10 Miami taking on number 16 Kentucky at 7:30 Eastern at Rupp Arena. And then it's the Clemson Tigers against number 17 Alabama. You get all the action on the app, too. How about that win for the Alabama Crimson Tide on the gridiron yesterday? They lost that game like 4 times before they won it.
But they lost it. Well, I'll say Auburn lost it by the fact that they didn't send anyone after the quarterback. How do you give a quarterback that much time? That's like playing, that's backyard football. If you run around long enough, somebody's going to be open. No, mind you, it was a great throw and a great catch.
Great catch,
We absolutely take nothing away from the quarterback or the receiver. But there's zero pressure on the quarterback to be able to make that play at the end of the game.
And Bond hauling it in the end zone, and Alabama still alive for a shot at a national championship.
Do they have a chance against Georgia in the SEC championship?
I think they do, but you're asking a wrong guy.
I know.
And my son went to Alabama. My daughter went to Georgia.
Oh, but you were Georgia. You worked at Georgia.
I did Georgia basketball. That's right, on radio, and also worked the football show alongside the legendary Larry Munson. I was next to Larry. I'm not sure I really worked the broadcast. He was a one-man band. Incredible. Stolen away by Shoga. They've got numbers here. They've got a 4-on-1, and they'll convert as Lawal gets up there, as he certainly can.
Yeah, but I was waiting for the dunk, though.
Yeah.
Again, if you 49.5-inch vertically, you take off and you put somebody in the rim on that one. No layups allowed when you jump that high.
Last 7 or 8 minutes, the Rams have really taken over this thing.
They absolutely have, and it's been their defense that's really gotten them going, turning turnovers into points on the other end of the floor like their last possession.
The kick, and that's going to be out of bounds. Nick Kern throws it away. Back over to VCU it goes. Back to that last bucket.
Well, great job defensively by Shoga, getting into the gaps, taking the basketball away from Ace Baldwin, and then getting out in the break, recognizing he's got the athletes following him to be able to finish. That time, Toby the Wall able to finish with the layup. And again, great play by the Wall. I was just looking forward to seeing him take off.
So was I. So was he. Bell on Johnson. Yes. Nice finish by Michael Bell. And this has been all VCU here the last several minutes.
Yeah. Now O'Dowd coming up, Gimpy. And I'm starting to wonder whether Kanye Clary is injured. He came out, I watched him come out at the under-16 timeout, and he was talking to someone on the staff. But the fact that he hasn't been back into the game, he could be injured as we see O'Doyle come down on Furman's foot there. Will walk off the court gingerly.
Well, you're talking about in the sophomore Kanye Clary, a guy who's averaging 19.5 points a game. That's going to count it. That's going to be goaltending as they'll get Fats Billups for interference.
But the good thing about that is now that it was called a goaltend, and this actually happened with VCU in their game on Friday night, the officials will go back and look at this. It's going to be interesting because as you see, this is a great angle. Shout out to our camera crew. Does the ball hit the glass first? I think that those 2 points may come off for Penn State when they go review that
Billups
in the timeout.
Slithering inside. He gets 2 more. So we'll keep our eye on that and a possible scoring change. Hicks to the paint. Baldwin pulls up, hops, and gets hit as well. He'll be at the line. Looking for a three-point play.
Yeah, OB. Ace Baldwin's not going down without a fight. Again, he does not have his backcourt mate right now out there with him. But one thing is for certain, Ace Baldwin is going to give you everything that he has that time. Taking the contact from Jackson, still able to finish in the mid-range.
Ace Baldwin is one of those players, and we've gotten a chance to see him play 3 games now. The more you see him, the more you like him.
Well, I tell you, I liked him a lot after I was coaching at Oak Hill and we took our team up to St. Francis. And they obliterated us, and he was the reason why we couldn't get the basketball across half court. So I've loved him ever since then and continue to follow his career at VCU and now at Penn State, and I'm still a fan.
A lot of accolades already, obviously, but he can play. Shoga trying to negotiate his way inside, and before the shot, he'll draw the foul. He'll be fouled by Mitchell with 1:32 before halftime. Shoga, a very good foul shooter at 86%. So 1-1 coming from the young man from Ukraine. He's the guy who's going to take the big shots at the end of the game. Maybe a game like this, the way it's being played. But the ball's going to be in his hands. He makes number one.
Well, it was surprising that in their matchup on Friday night, he didn't have the ball in his hands at the end. They actually gave it to Zeb Jackson. Though Zeb Jackson has been really good here this morning. But I was expecting to see Shoga with the basketball on that last possession, or Jason Nelson, one of those two guys who had it going offensively, where Zeb Jackson struggled from the field.
Now, they've dropped 2 games here at the ESPN Events Invitational by a total of 8 points. He's talking about the Rams. So coming down the stretch of the first half, 43-37. Baldwin lost a sneaker. Shot clock down to 9. Ace Baldwin needs a moment here and a timeout to put that on. That's with 8 on the shot clock. We're going to take a quick break. Minute 10 before halftime at our ESPN Events Invitational, Game 1. You know, Wednesday, it's another featured ACC-SEC Challenge. Men's college basketball on ESPN. Number 7, Tennessee at Chapel Hill to go up against number 14, North Carolina. 7:15 Eastern Time. Then we take it to number 9, Duke, taking on number 20, Arkansas. The ESPN app will also have all the action there.
Rick Barnes returning to the Dean E. Smith Center, where Rick Barnes really was the first ever coach in the ACC to challenge Dean Smith. Was not great blood between the two of those guys. Going to be interesting to see the reception that he gets when he goes back into the Dean Dome from the Carolina faithful.
Not many had the temerity to challenge the great Dean Smith. Coach K did.
Coach K did. Later. Rick Barnes did it first.
Bounced in for Puff Johnson. He'll turn and fire. Flipped up. That won't drop. Kern with a misfire underneath.
Nice find.
Billups wants to get closer, and contact as he rose up. Under a minute to go before the break.
Fats has given VCU great minutes coming off the bench, and he continues to develop. This is a young man who was, of course, recruited by Mike Rhodes, and I'm sure would have had the opportunity to make that move to go to Happy Valley with Mike Rhodes at Penn State, but decided he was going to stay home in Richmond. He made his commitment to the city and said, I'm sticking with it. And he looks great right now playing for Ryan Odom in this VCU uniform. Has really grown as a player on the court.
And he's 8 for 8 at the foul line to begin his college career. 45-37. Largest lead of the game here for the Rams. Right side. Catching, firing. Here's Baldwin, no. One and done, and torn away by Bell.
But you see this VCU team, it's not just about one guy. You've got multiple guys that can make plays. You see Bell grab the rebound, he can push it. Billups can push the basketball. Of course, Zeb Jackson and Shoga can both push the basketball. So they don't have to wait to get the basketball into a point guard's hand. They have a number of guys who can go get it off the glass and initiate the offense. As we get a chance to see Kanye Clary, who was injured in that first half.
Bell making the first. So that's a huge miss for the Nittany Lions to have their top player all iced up on that right arm. 28 points the other day in a losing cause to Butler. Had 19 against Texas A&M and a loss earlier as well. 46-37. Baldwin with it. Baldwin to make a move. Sealed off. Here's Hicks with a pull-up. He'll draw the foul. As he got hit on the side of the head. And fouled by Alfonso Billups. That'll be the first personal foul for Fats Billups. So Hicks to the line to shoot 2. Junior from New Jersey, who's been their most prolific three-point man, drops in number 1. 8.5 seconds to go in the first half. Penn State looking for their first win in this tournament. Same for VCU. He makes one of 2. Rebounded away Johnson.
That's a big play at the end of the half. If Penn State can get a stop, that gives them momentum going into the locker room.
Jackson with a heave and almost made it off the window. So there we are at halftime. VCU up by 6. They had the better of the play over the last 10-12 minutes for sure. And they lead it by half a dozen over the Penn State Nittany Lions.
This game has been everything we could have asked for, OB. We've got a lot of family matters being ironed out here on the gridiron. Forgive me, on the hardwood.
You're watching ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. And we welcome you back to the ESPN Events Invitational. Still good morning to you. This game tipping off at 10:30. VCU on top 46-40 over Penn State. Penn State losing a key man and their number 1 scorer in Kanye Clary early in the first half. In fact, he only played 3 minutes, but credit VCU. They really picked it up and ran with it at about the halfway point of that first half.
VCU absolutely did a great job, and they were able to turn defense into offense, which has really been a staple of this program forever. However, a guy for Penn State that did step up was DeMarco Dunn, but he had to battle against Zeb Jackson, who got up to a great start throughout this game. 12 points for Zeb in the first half, 5 of 9 for the field after going 3 of 12 on Friday night. He has been in attack mode going up against his former coach and Mike Rhodes on the other sideline. And Mike Rhodes has had a guy by the name of DeMarco Dunn to step up, a transfer from the University of North Carolina, knocked down 3 three-point field goals in that first half. And he really was the offense for Penn State coming off the bench. 11 points for Dunn, 3 of 3 from beyond the three-point arc. On one of them, he had a little something extra to say to the bench, but he learned his lesson, and we will see much more of him in the second half.
Ace Baldwin also with 13 for Penn State, but they are without Kanye Clary to this point. Again, only played 3 minutes in the first half. He came up with a hand injury, and he had ice on that most of that first half.
And you see Clary get hit with the screen and immediately reach for that lower arm, and we're being told that he is questionable to return in the second half with a hand injury. So we'll keep an eye out on Kanye Clary to see if he can come back in and try to help the Nittany Lions get a win here in Orlando.
Now for the Rams, one thing to keep in mind, VCU led by 9 or more in all 3 games they have played here. Up at the break at the moment by 6, but they had a larger lead than that. And they lost the first 2. So we'll see what happens in this one. VCU hitting 62%, so they have sizzled.
And VCU also playing without Jason Nelson, their reserve point guard right now. So not as much ball handling for the Rams as you would have expected. However, their energy and their effort has been great, even though they're playing without a couple of their rotation guys.
So we're set for the second half. This is game number 1 today, the 7th place game, and we've got the championship at 1 o'clock. So that'll follow this one. That will be on ESPN. That'll be between Virginia Tech and Florida Atlantic, FAU, after the great run of the Final Four last year. Now they're trying to win a championship here in their home states. Ryan Odom and VCU looking to get out of here with a W, having dropped 2 games here at the ESPN Events Invitational by a total of 8 points. They lost to Iowa State 68-64, lost to Boise State 65-61. That gets old when you're in the game right to the very end, but you can't pick up the W.
It absolutely does. And again, I'm sure that's something that Ryan Odom has talked to his team about at halftime, is making sure they find a way to try to finish it off. But the Nittany Lions will not go away for certain.
Kwani with a turnaround and the pop. That won't fall for him. Qudus Wahab, one of the best names in this tournament, gets the rebound.
Kind of like Wani.
I do too.
Yeah.
We've had a few in this tournament.
We've had some great names.
You and I are collectors of really cool names.
This
Baldwin
is very true.
on the move. Back out for Hicks. Shot clock at 8. Here's Baldwin coming up 13 in the first half. Hicks finds the paint with a right hand and batted out of the sky. Furman with the block.
Great job by Furman coming over and help. After Dunn had done a great job blowing by his defender.
Shoga lets fly. Rebound batted right to Bell. They'll get another crack at it. And Shoga will set it up. 6'5" senior. And a whistle off the ball.
I believe the shot clock reset to 30 seconds when it should have reset to 20 off of offensive rebound. Rick Crawford going to go over and check with the table to make sure they get that squared away.
And at the moment resetting to 23. And they're going to wind it on down to 13.
There we go.
Zeb Jackson. Jackson with the jumper. Here comes Kern out of there with it. 6'6" junior from St. Louis. Transferred from VCU with Mike Rhodes. And a bucket by Baldwin. He's having a very strong day here.
He absolutely has, and understands that he's going out there without his backcourt mate in Kanye Clary, but playing against his former team. If there's anyone who wants this win, it is absolutely Ace Baldwin.
Basket good. He made it anyway. Would have been goaltending.
And just like that, 5 straight points for Ace Baldwin to make this a 1-point game. And you have to understand, going into the halftime locker room, down to your former team, Ace Baldwin knew he was going to come back out with a different level of energy, and we've seen that here on the last 2 plays.
Give him 18. Shoga slapped out of there by Dunn. So it'll be VCU ball. And Baldwin becoming the man here for the Nittany Lions, trying to lead them back to a victory and pick up a W before they head on back to Penn State. Shoga on Baldwin. This is a good matchup. A little fall away. No.
And there's a reason why Max Shoga has not had a great game thus far. It's because the Atlantic 10's Defensive Player of the Year, who moved to the Big Ten this year, is guarding him. Give Ace Baldwin a lot of credit for what he's done defensively as well.
Hicks jumping to the baseline. Nifty feed. Wahab can't finish though. It's a really fine pass.
Yeah, great pass and a good look for Wahab, just unable to finish it off to give Penn State the lead back.
Toby Lawal to check back in here in a moment for the Rams. Bell collects, flips it up there. He'll go to the line. Michael Bell, the talented freshman, another guy who can shoot the 3. He'll be going to the line.
Yeah, great size, gets in there, offensive rebound, but he's really been efficient throughout this game. 2 or 3 from the field thus far. But he's made plays not just for himself, for his teammates as well. And now the opportunity to put points on the board at the free throw line.
Kern fouled him. Bell 79% at that line. And the leaper, Toby Lawal, back on with that tremendous vertical, which is now passed into legend.
It absolutely has.
So VCU on top, 48-45. Baldwin, 3, no. That clangs off. And a whistle here with 17 minutes to go here in the second half. He'll get done for his third.
Zeb Jackson just trying to be aggressive, recognizing they're done playing with 2 fouls. And they do not have Kanye Clary right now coming back in. So it's going to be Mitchell checking in for Dunn. But Zeb Jackson doing a great job of trying to take advantage of his matchup, regardless as to who's defending him.
And an official stoppage of play here. And right back at it in for Furman. He'll take the paint. With that left hand, can't finish. Rebound controlled by Penn State.
And Furman got a good look, did a great job handling the basketball, getting to the rim, just unable to finish it once he got in close.
Hicks feeding Wahab. Wahab right back in the lane and fouled.
You could hear the entire Penn State bench yelling, give it to him, give it to him. The rule is when you can see the front of your post player's jersey, you see their numbers, they have to get the basketball. Now it's up to them to be able to turn it into points, whether they finish at the basket or get to the free throw line, get fouled, and score the basketball. But when you see the front of their jersey, you can read their numbers clearly, they have to get the basketball.
Penn State 13 for 18 at the foul line today. And number 1 by Qudus Wahab. He hit 77%. Scored over 1,000 points and 800 rebounds in his career. VCU to bring Wheeler back on. And number 2 for Wahab.
And a productive possession. You get the basketball inside to your big guy. He gets you 2 points at the free throw line, making it a 1-point game once again.
And a sleepy start to the second half here for the Rams. They're 0 for 6.
Yeah, I believe the energy is kind of worn off, and this is a team that's playing a little undermanned right now. Not a huge rotation available for Ryan Odom here throughout this game. So will 3 games in 4 days catch up to the Rams here? Where Penn State seems to have a little more legs, a little more momentum, and we got to go back to that offensive rebound putback by Puff Johnson to end the first half that made a 6-point game and gave Penn State some momentum going into halftime.
Penn State can grab the lead. Baldwin for Hicks. He'll turn and fire. In and out. Wahab another rebound. Good fake. He'll be back to the line. He'll be shooting 2. So we've got a timeout here with 15:58 left. Penn State suddenly surging, trying to take a lead against the Rams. Well, some fireworks as we went to the commercial break. Each side got hit with a technical. Wheeler for the Rams, and Ire, we believe, it was not in the game, but he was seated and he jumped up and was hit with a foul, technical foul. So we give you a look at the final seconds before we went to break. VCU on top, 48-47.
Roosevelt Wheeler, who picked up the foul on Qudus Wahab, walking to the bench, nudges Wahab a little bit on the walkthrough. And then, of course, when you've got a young man who's not even in uniform coming over, getting involved in the mix, that's absolutely going to be a technical foul.
Favor Ire coming off the bench there. So getting the explanation here from Rick Crawford. He's going to offset 48-47. Rick has laid it all out.
And it was a lot. Rick did a great job of explaining it. Hopefully I will be able to explain it the same way. But it's going to be a bench technical foul on Penn State. And there will be, of course, a technical foul on Roosevelt Wheeler also. So those two technical fouls will be offsetting. But the common foul was on Roosevelt Wheeler, so Koops Wahab will go to the free throw line for his 2 shots. But it would be charged to, of course, because it's a bench technical foul, Mike Rhodes cannot get a technical foul. Otherwise, he would be ejected because that was given to his bench. I believe I got that right.
I think you did. And for Wheeler, by the way, his 4th foul.
Yes. Well, you pick up the 3rd with the foul in the mix, and then you pick up the 4th foul on the technical foul.
So Wahab will get another one. Makes 77% of his free throws.
And thank you to Rick Crawford for coming over and giving us all that information. Our officials have been great at that this entire weekend, just making sure that we stay educated on what's going on and being very communicative with us.
We are very appreciative. I think all the crews have been excellent here.
I agree.
In Orlando. Jackson around the back, working Hicks. Hicks knocks it away, those long arms.
Another chance here for Penn State to take the lead. They missed a layup on the last time they had this. And now it's simply about getting a great offensive possession, getting the shot that you want on this end of the floor.
Baldwin inside of the big fella, laid up and in by Wahab. Penn State with their first lead since it was 21-19.
But Obi, what's so interesting about that, it was Ace Baldwin to Wahab with down 1 a few possessions ago, and Wahab missed a layup. And so give Ace Baldwin a lot of credit for sticking with this big guy, giving him another opportunity to get that lead.
The Wall draws the contact. Hicks hit him. So Toby Lawal from London will head to the line. Hicks is second. I think one of the storylines here is the work that Ace Baldwin, the senior for the Nittany Lions, is doing on Max Shulga, who's the top scorer for the Rams, coming off 24 points on Friday against Boise State.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job defensively, of course, which you would expect from the A-10's Defensive Player of the Year a season ago, where he was wearing the other uniform on this floor, the black and gold of the VCU Rams. He's now transitioned to Happy Valley alongside his head coach, Mike Rhodes. But you know what they say, defense travels, and it's definitely traveled with Ace Baldwin.
Well, we're tied again at 49. Baldwin with a pull-up and can't hit it. Rebound's going to be tapped out. It'll go the other way. The Rams basketball trying to retake the lead.
Wahab has been a force on the offensive glass, especially in this second half, though. He's been a difference maker in the paint.
Billups hands off for Shulga, wants to fire it up there and hit it. He's 42% beyond that three-point line.
Yeah, and he takes some that may be questionable, but he makes big shots, and he absolutely has logo range. So you have to account for him wherever he is on the floor.
Baldwin looking for the answer, banks it and draws the foul.
Speaking of having to account for, you've got to account for Ace Baldwin every time you cross the half court when you're defending against the Penn State Nittany Lions. And look at the range of Shulga on this one. Nowhere near the college three-point line. Does not matter. Is able to step back and knock it down. And then on the other end of the floor, Ace Baldwin showing off his strength as he finishes and looks to the sky. It's Sunday.
He has 20. Also has 4 assists. And he has played about every second of this one.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to come out of this game. I think Mike Rhodes will have a very difficult time getting Ace off the floor in this one.
Well, especially with Kanye Clary out, unavailable. 19.5 points a game, injured his arm. In the first half, only played 3 minutes. And he's been lost to Penn State. He had hanging tough, 52-52. And they're going to get the body foul there against Penn State and Nick Kern Jr. That's his third.
You can only imagine the matchup between these two guys, Nick Kern Jr. and Alfonso Fats Billups. These guys, I'm sure, practice against each other a lot over the last couple of years. And now an opportunity to go at it here for all the marbles in Orlando.
Jackson slammed on the brakes, still trying to get it up there with a turnaround, but no. Well, VCU thought they had the basketball. Officials are going to get together on this. Let's see what they come up with 13:48 to go.
I can tell you exactly what it is. And again, to me, it's great officiating. However, being that it's right in front of VCU's bench, Courtney Green was not calling the foul, which it actually was. That was a foul on the wall. That is a classic case of going over the back. But when you don't call the foul and you just give the basketball to the team that was fouled, that's the way things were done in the NBA for a very, very long time. Instead of putting a foul on a guy, you just give the basketball back. Everybody goes away, no harm, no foul. However, because it happens in front of the VCU bench, that's what's caused the reaction, which eventually gets VCU's bench the technical foul.
Wow.
So I believe the basketball will go back to VCU. However, they picked up the foul along the way.
Yeah, they will have the ball, so they changed that. The Rams will have the ball, but a bench technical. It's a third technical foul we have seen in this contest as Baldwin makes the first on the other end.
Yeah, it's a Class A technical foul on VCU's bench for coming onto the floor, but they did correct the call. The basketball will return to VCU after this, as though Penn State knocked it out.
Baldwin making 1 of 2 to put the Nittany Lions in front. But the Rams will have the ball. We came on air talking about the storyline of Mike Rhodes, the head coach for Penn State, who just last year was VCU's head coach. And now they meet very early the following season. Inside, Wahab knows exactly what to do with the flush.
You can see the difference that Penn State has made in the second half with making sure that they are intent on getting the basketball inside to Wahab, and he has delivered for his team here this morning.
Out top, Billups gets a good look. Sticks it. Fats on target.
I can tell you what, he has improved so much as a shooter, as a player. And this is a game you can see that he has looked forward to and has relished with this opportunity here today.
Knotted at 55. Under 13 to play. Baldwin to make the feed. Picked off by Shoga. He's ahead of the field, and he will slam this down.
And for all the positive momentum that Penn State had here coming into the second half and the way they played, VCU has now regained the lead off of turning more defense into offense.
The longer the game goes, the more the Nittany Lions miss Kanye Clary. Sweet shot there. Wahab getting up high for 2. They're looking for him now.
They absolutely are. Wahab came into this tournament averaging a double-double with the NCAA third best 12.5 rebounds per game.
Rolling inside off the window, and that'll drop down for the wall. And again, the Rams retake the lead 59-57. Back and forth we go. Baldwin to the paint and a kick on the baseline. Wahab back out top. Here's Brown. And that's going to be a travel. Penn State will give it back. And we have a timeout on the floor. Pretty good pace here in the last 5 or 6 minutes. VCU surging back in front by 2. 12 points, 5 rebounds for the 6'11 Nigerian. Yeah, VCU by 2 here. In the first half, there was a goaltending call, and we thought there was a chance they might overturn that. They decided not to do that, so there was no change in the score at any point. Both teams shooting it effectively. Penn State 50%, VCU 53%.
And if it had been overturned, we would have a tie game right now. So I'm sure that's something that will be kept close track on. And again, when I saw it, of course, on replay, I thought it was a clean block.
That'll go the other way.
But this is a problem. Ace Baldwin down, taking the worst of that offensive foul. He's as tough as nails, so getting back up. But it'd be interesting to see how he's able to. Rarely do you even see Ace Baldwin lay on the floor. Once he does get knocked down, most likely caught a knee in the quad on that possession, reaches immediately for that left quad. Now look who's back in the game. Kanye Clary has stepped back onto the floor.
Well, we're in a wrap on that right arm, but they need him. The foul was on Lawal, by the way, his third.
And fortunately for Clary, he's a lefty. So he's still been able to get busy. You're talking about a young man averaging over 19 points a game coming in. 11 and a half minutes to get going.
Johnson gets an open look. Jackson in transition. VCU trying to build on his slender lead. Slapped out of the sky by the big fellow Wahab.
Nice play by Wahab right there. Great timing.
Here's Clary. 28 points in the last one against Butler in defeat. Dunn steps back. Shot suddenly not falling here for Penn State. Zeb Jackson, the senior, to set it up now for the Rams. Rams have not shot it well this season from three, only 31%. On the drive, Bell, and that's the deflected out. They said, anybody else touch that?
I've got to go back and correct my mistake from earlier. Actually, if that goaltender had counted, I'm sorry, didn't count, it would be a 4-point lead for VCU.
He just lost his ball.
Yeah, that was lost. Great job by the officiating crew going over and checking that.
So 10:35 to play. We'll see how quickly Kanye can get into the flow.
And you see him continuing to grip back and forth that right hand. It's a hand injury earlier, kind of lost feeling in his fingers, but felt good enough to be able to come back in.
Well, sophomore wants to make a go for it here on the last day at Disney World. He's also a really good pressure defender.
Yes. So he's a difference maker, but, you know, you take away the fact that you don't have to account for him. You can load up on a guy like Ace Baldwin. So now Baldwin should be able to have a little bit more freedom on the offensive end, some driving lanes, knowing that Clary's on the floor alongside him.
Baldwin has 22 points. His pull-up pop. There's suddenly a lid on the basket here for the Nittany Lions the last few minutes. VCU hasn't really taken full advantage, only up by 2. But the Rams will have the ball back here. Shoga kicks it out. Kwani off to Jackson. Shot clock now a factor inside 10. Jackson drains it.
That's a big bucket. That's a huge bucket right there. Zeb Jackson feeling good about things. Got off to a great start in the first half. A little quiet here to start the second half. And now VCU on a 10-2 run over the last 4 minutes.
And they take control of this thing. Here's Clary. So far, he's been held scoreless. Baldwin on the attack. He has spent a lot of the morning and now the early afternoon on the floor, taking some shots. Fouled here by Billups, his second.
But just the fact that Clary's on the floor, things will open up for Ace Baldwin. You see a clean driving lane for Baldwin to get to the rim. Met with some resistance once he gets there, but he will not be deterred.
So the Baltimore native to shoot 2. Came in averaging 12 points, 4 assists a game, but has blown away his scoring average today. A lot of that out of necessity as his backcourt mate, who's been around 20 points a game, Kanye Clary, has missed such a huge chunk of this thing. VCU to bring back on Michael Bell, the talented freshman. Bell is one guy on their team who is a real three-point threat. He came in hitting 43%.
You know what that means, as far as I'm concerned. Not getting enough shots.
Right. It's like, come on, I'm at 21. I should have twice that. Flipped up and in by Jackson on a nifty drive.
A nice split of the pick and roll and a trap by Jackson, which is a cardinal sin by defenses. You actually take two of your defenders away, playing 5-on-3 at that point.
Clary trying to use the screen. The drive. Left that one well short. Yeah, he looks out of sorts. And as you said, he's a lefty anyway. But clearly not being in any kind of rhythm today is affecting him.
And he's been sitting down for, you've got to imagine, at least 25 minutes of game action, which is difficult to do to try to come back. A lot of respect for this young man, trying to help his team get a win here. But he may not be the answer for Mike Rhodes and his team moving forward.
Bell stops, gave up the dribble. He can shoot it out beyond that arc, but he's going to want to take it to the foul line here. He line drived it, knocked around. That's a violation of the shot clock. So VCU leading at 64-59. They'll take over the basketball.
And when I say Clary may not be the answer, I'm only thinking about this game specifically because a guy like DeMarco Dunn has played so well. It'll be interesting to see how long Mike Rhodes stays with Clary in this one before he goes back with Dunn, who has had a hot hand, especially in the first half of this game.
Penn State trying to cut in. Ace Baldwin almost trying to hide in there. It's deflected out by VCU.
Well, he had Clary, who was trying to hide along the baseline to see if he can get an easy one. And right now, no offense has been easy for Penn State as VCU has built a 5-point lead.
That is the championship trophy. And that'll go to either FAU or Virginia Tech. They're going to square off for the championship game at 1 o'clock today. Number 19, FAU, after an amazing run to the Final Four last year. And Virginia Tech got some great stories. Among those, Hunter Couture, who grew up here in Orlando as a high school, as a multi-sport star, played a lot of games in a bunch of sports right here at Disney Wide World of Sports. He was a football player, he was a soccer player, obviously a great basketball player.
Yeah, Hunter feels right at home and most likely we have about 30 or more friends and family members here watching him play. But FAU will have much more than that. Please believe me. They travel well and only a 3-hour drive from Boca to get here to Orlando. So
they're fun to watch too.
Oh yeah, and they've got a lot of fun fans right behind us. Be interesting to see.
Interesting to see what they say.
Yes,
it might get picked up by our microphones.
That's it.
As did a couple of days ago. Here's Baldwin working on a 24-point game. That'll be swatted away. They're going to keep it on this end. That was with 1 on the shot clock. 7:47 to go in this contest.
And Mike Rhodes well prepared for this. They have special plays put in for when you find a shot clock situation as such.
Quick inbounds. And able to get that up in time, but the shot won't go by Zach Hicks.
Yeah, got a good look from a guy that you like taking that shot. Just unable to knock it down. And VCU with an opportunity to build on this lead.
Furman hands off for Shulga. Nice pass underneath for the stuff by the wall.
That's the one guy that you're waiting to see. You want him to challenge anyone at the rim and take off. Nice find by Shulga to get the wall the easy dunk.
Baldwin. Yeah, he's going to bank in a 3.
And that's the second bank three-pointer he's made. Had one of those on Thanksgiving Day.
Whether he meant to do it or not, they needed that.
Well, banks weren't open on Thanksgiving. They're not open on Sunday. So, Ace is trying to make sure that everyone knows that the bank still exists.
Yes, here at State Farm Fieldhouse, they're open. 66-62. Got it out top. Long one for Billups.
Wow, his third 3.
Yes, 3 on target by Fats.
And a great response for the Rams, who are locked in. Many of their fans I talked to at halftime are concerned that do they run out of gas. And right now, there has been no issues as such for VCU.
Baldwin with the dribble, lays it off for Wahab. He'll get 2 more. Udis Wahab, a 6'11" grad, for a bucket to keep them connected.
And I'm not sure that anyone outside of Wahab or Baldwin has scored in the second half. I got to really go back and look at the numbers to see is anyone else putting points on the board for Penn State.
Eight to get off a shot. The kick out for Billups, another one. He got that one too.
I see you, Fats. The young fella is feeling good about things right now. Now 4 of 5 from beyond the three-point line, causing his former coach to come and call a timeout as the VCU family meets Fats Billups on the court as he's knocked down not 1, but 2 back-to-back threes to build the lead to 8 for the Rams. Great opportunity for Clemson. They're playing great basketball to start the season for Brad Brownell. It'll be a tough test going to Tuscaloosa, taking on the Crimson Tide.
And Kentucky in Miami. Got a Final Four team in Miami against a Kentucky team waiting on 3 bigs. Nobody available yet, but they've done pretty well without them.
And they're going to have an issue dealing with the undersized big who plays much larger than his stature, Norchad Omier from Miami, who no matter what is the strongest guy on the floor regardless as to who he plays against.
Baldwin fouled by Lawal, trying to keep up with him. That's going to be 4 on Toby Lawal. You mentioned a moment ago Baldwin and Wahab you thought had done all the scoring here in the second half for Penn State. You're exactly right, all 24. Baldwin 14, Wahab a 10.
And that's tough to win when you have 2 guys that are bulk of your offense in the second half of a game, and you're playing really without the services of your leading scorer who's been injured, and now as Dunn comes back in for Kanye Clary, which I kind of felt Mike Rose would have to go that route. Ace Baldwin getting an offensive rebound off of his own missed free throw.
They'll keep it on the possession arrow. 5:26 left. Ryan Odom, first year at VCU. Mike Rhodes was the VCU head coach a year ago. And it took VCU to the A-10 regular season and tournament titles and an NCAA tournament bid before jumping to Penn State and the Big Ten. Won 27 games last year.
There's a tradition of excellence in Richmond, Virginia that Fats Billups has gotten involved in.
And 1. He'll be at the line. An unnecessary foul there. There's no question he was going to go in and make that shot. And that bolsters the lead to 10.
Well, we talked about the commitments to excellence. There's always been a commitment to defense. That's what Mike Rose did great. That's what Shaka Smart did great at VCU. And it looks as though Ryan Odom will follow along that trend as he has this VCU team defending extremely well. As Fats Billups has been a difference maker here in this second half. 8 consecutive points and now an offensive rebound.
Shulga can't connect. Baldwin with the rebound. He goes down. He gave it up. Bell has it. He misfires in close. Well, they had a big chance to put a hammer down there, but they are by 10.
They really did. That was dagger territory right there. If that 3 from Shulga goes down.
Hicks. Wahab now. He's double, triple team trying to get free. And will draw the foul. That'll go against Furman. Christian Furman's 4th foul. And Wahab with an opportunity to cut in now, so he'll go to the line. Udis Wahab, the 6'11" grad, 77% at the foul line. in and out. Another rebound there from Michael Bell, who's really given Ryan Odom and VCU some nice minutes.
Well, it has. VCU's gotten production from everyone that stepped on the floor for them throughout this game.
If they were going to win, that was probably going to have to be the case.
Yes, because they weren't going to be able to play many. Down a couple guys due to injury. But the guys who have been on the floor have been huge.
Like Zeb Jackson, who will float in a triple.
And Zeb Jackson really was the one who set the tone early in this game for VCU. And now he's gotten involved here late as well.
Puff Johnson going in strong, former North Carolina Tar Heel. He'll be fouled here with just over 4 minutes to go, and VCU's taking control. And Christian Furman, that's number 5 on him.
But Zeb Jackson, only 3 of 12 from the field on Friday. 8 of 16 here this morning. Oh, wait a minute. We're in the afternoon now. It's 12:30.
We are now. Started at 10:30.
So, with 8 of 16 for 20 points for Zeb Jackson to go along with 7 rebounds and 5 assists, only 2 turnovers. He has been special. Probably the player of the game, except for the fact that Fats Billups has been really, really, really good for VCU. It'd be amazing to see who their player of the game would be. 20 points for Billups as well. 7 of 8 from the field, 4 of 5 from beyond the three-point arc.
I think the difference is with Zeb Jackson, if you look across the board, he has just as many points, 7 rebounds and 5 assists.
The all-around game has absolutely helped Zeb Jackson's case.
Johnson will have another one coming.
But if I'm voting, I'm still going with Fats.
I love it. You know, Fats, 6'7". What is he, about 215 maybe?
Yeah, he was supposedly a fat kid. That's what he said. He grew up, he was a little fat kid. Now, of course, not anymore.
And made the pair. So Penn State trying to hang around, 77-66 VCU. Jackson took a bump there, no whistle. Now they trap him, and he gets a timeout. So we've got 3:59 showing in our first game of the day, 77-66 VCU in front on Penn State. Well, VCU hitting 54% of their shots. They're 7 out of 13 from three-point land. On the topic of three-pointers, that young man set the record for Virginia Tech, a school record the other night for career three-pointers made. That is Hunter Couture leading Virginia Tech against number 19 FAU in the championship game following this one.
And he's in his 5th year. But because he's my nephew, I'm not going to put the asterisk beside it, because we've had this conversation before, and he told me, okay, but what if I get to play the end of my 2020 year? Do I make the threes necessary to be able to get to the point to where I am, to where I can break this record in 4 years? So, yes, Hunter and I have had this conversation a number of times, so I'm not going to hit him with the asterisk like I do a lot of other people.
Hunter walked out with a game ball the other night, and Mike Young, his head coach, said, "What are you doing with the ball?" He said, I set the record, dummy. I mean, I love the relationship they have. Where Mike said later, I love that kid. It's a privilege to coach him.
They absolutely have a great relationship.
Swing it here for Billups. Oh, Fats is feeling it.
Yeah, Fats' game has been huge here this morning turned afternoon. And he has made big play after big play for the Rams.
He's got 23. 80-66. And a whistle on the paint with 3:35 to go. And VCU trying to put this game on ice against the Nittany Lions.
And this is not a set play. This is about allowing Sugar to get downhill and make a play for himself or his teammates. But Sugar makes the nice find. Zeb Jackson, who has been great here as well, makes the extra pass. One more to the corner to the hot hand of Alfonso Fats Billups, who now has 23 points on 5 of 6 shooting from beyond the three-point arc.
Raquandis Mitchell will misfire on the first one. Penn State really had to do it without that man, Kanye Clary. Give him credit. He showed some courage with that arm injury, which cost him all but 3 minutes of the first half. Tried to make her go for it in the second half, and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah, you could tell he wasn't the same. Only one field goal attempt for Kanye Clary, who put so much pressure on a defense. And for Mike Rhodes and his staff, it's extremely difficult to come in and win a game against a tough VCU team when you don't have your best players in hand.
That's a traveling violation. You figure a game like this, you've got a good chance, and maybe it's about even against VCU if you have him playing 35 minutes.
Yeah, I would have given them. That probably would have been the favorite if you have a healthy Kanye Clary, especially with Jason Nelson being out for VCU. But VCU has done a great job of really matching the energy and the effort.
A little bit blocking foul. They'll get Jackson for his third.
And, you know, as we, of course, now at the end of rivalry weekend, this is a budding rivalry. Penn State may not know that yet as far as the players on the team. However, coming into this game, Ace Baldwin, Nick Kern, and, of course, Mike Rhodes, the gentleman on his right shoulder right there, Brandon Rozelle, who was part of that 2011 Final Four team at VCU. They understood the magnitude of this game coming in, what it meant to play against VCU. I'm not certain that the other guys on the roster got that. And I know it's something that Coach Rhodes told his team, but it didn't mean as much to those other players as it did to the guys in gold and black. And this game is far from over. 12-point lead with 3 minutes and 8 seconds remaining. There's more than enough time for Penn State to come back and win this game. But to this point, the first 37 minutes of game action, VCU's had just a little more pep in their step than the Nittany Lions had.
Yep. Shoga looking for help, knocked away. They'll be scooped up by Hicks. Hicks inside for two. That cuts it back to 10.
Yeah, and that's the way you do it. If you're going to get back in it, they're going to need this full court pressure for some turnovers.
Jackson off the fake and lays it up. He'll be at the line to shoot. 2:35 left. And Wahab will pick up that foul, his third.
Third personal 17 foul.
Jackson to shoot a pair. And he is the best foul shooter on the floor for the Rams at 95%.
Now, if there's anyone that should be able to handle the pressure from Mike Rhodes in Penn State, it should be Zeb Jackson, Alfonso Billups, and these VCU Rams, where four guys actually played that style of play a season ago. So they know that press. They know where the holes are in that press. But it's always different when you actually have to get out and execute it.
Zeb Jackson, a career high 22. For VCU, they lead by a dozen. Wahab heading to the bench. And 2.5 left. Did the Nittany Lions have a big-time run in them? Well, Baldwin will find Kern. They're going to need more of those to go. Baldwin harassing Shoga. He's been doing that throughout the game. Flipped up ahead for Bell.
But now it's numbers. Smart play by Fats on that one. The guy's been hot from three, but decides not to take that three. Kill some clock. I would have shot it, Obi.
I have no doubt. Jackson with 4 to get one up there. It'll be short and come free to Penn State. Down by 12. Kern will try and flip it and save it, but can't do it. He'll be back over to VCU. Well, VCU with a couple of really tough losses here. By a combined 8 points at the ESPN Events Invitational, falling 68-64 to Iowa State, and then by 4 points to Boise State. Able to establish the lead in the second half here this morning and then this afternoon in a game that crossed between 10:30 and noontime. And our second game, our championship game, was to begin at 1 o'clock. That's going to start a little bit later.
We're going to have another review, so it's going to be even later as the officials will go over and make sure that that basketball did go off of Kern. I believe this could possibly be overturned. Kern does a great job getting a hand on this basketball, and it looked in live action that it went off of the Wall's leg, and that's exactly what it was. I believe this is going to be overturned and go to Penn State.
That'll be the case as we take a look at today's shot of the game, brought to you by Novavax. This is more than just one.
Yeah, it's more than one. It's shots of the game by Novavax. When you start thinking about Alfonso Fats Billups stepping up, knocking down 3 after 3, and then attacking the basket, able to finish through the contact. Great job cutting to the basketball, cutting to the rim, making himself available for his teammates as an outlet, whether it's beyond the three-point line or getting out in the passing lanes and finishing at the rim for and-ones. Fats Billups has done it all here today.
He has 23 points. Jackson with 22, 17 for Shulga.
And just for good measure, we got to throw a couple block shots in there for Fats, too. I've seen him, he just blocked one with Ace Baldwin, but he blocked the three-point in the corner earlier.
10-point game, Jackson. Opportunity to run a little more clock here for the Rams. Jackson in heavy traffic. Rebounded away, the save by Hicks. Here's Kern in transition. A slice to the paint and lay it in. And a timeout, Penn State.
Still time remaining. 8-point lead, 46 seconds. If you're VCU, you got to handle the basketball the right way. Step up and make your free throws when you go to the line. Ryan Odom concerned about the fact that there was no call when Zeb Jackson went to the basket on the previous possession.
And a reminder, our championship game at the ESPN Events Invitational just around the corner. Virginia Tech and FAU. FAU knocking off Texas A&M to get to the championship game. Virginia Tech, remember they made that incredible run to win the ACC tournament title a couple of years ago.
Yes, they did. And you and I had a game across the state over in Tallahassee where Hunter Couture made 9 three-point field goals with his family and friends in the arena. Does he have that type of magic in him today? 18 points for Hunter on Friday, a game that he fouled out. They're going to need him on the floor for the entirety of it. They're going to beat this FAU Owls team, though, because they are loaded, especially in the backcourt.
So looking forward to a good one for the title. Both teams doing what they can to get ready. They should be on the floor right now warming up. But this one's gone a little bit longer than anticipated. We still have 36 seconds to go coming out of the Penn State timeout. Ace Baldwin leading the way for Penn State with 27. He's also chipped in with 5 assists, but the only other guy they have in double figures, Dunn and Wahab. Trying for the turnover, 40 seconds to go. And a reach and a foul on Nick Kern, and number 4 on Kern.
Personal 18 foul.
And that is team foul number 8. So Toby Lowell, the 6'8" sophomore from London, will shoot. He's got a 1-and-1. And another one coming for Toby. Looking to put this back to a 10-point lead.
Yeah, trying to make it a 4-possession game right now. Of course, you have to shoot the basketball extremely well to try to get back in from beyond the three-point arc. But you're going to need 4 possessions to do it.
Running out of time. Baldwin can't sink it. Rebound almost went in. And here's the wall to bounce ahead for Shoga. They will foul him with 20 seconds to go. But this one all but in the books for the Rams at VCU.
We talk about fan bases that travel. VCU has a great following. The basketball program built in Richmond, Virginia has picked up tremendous momentum over the past 20 years. And many of their faithful have joined us here in Orlando. And 20.5 seconds away from celebrating a victory over their former coach, Mike Rhodes, from just a season ago.
Well, that was the intriguing storyline coming into this one. How would Coach Rhodes react now coaching against guys that he recruited at VCU? Shoga pretty much automatic at that line, and he has iced this one.
Yeah, give VCU a lot of credit because they withstood the run by Penn State to start the second half. Ace Baldwin came out on fire to start the second half of this. Got a lot of help, including Wahab, but no one else in Penn State able to step up and make it happen as VCU will walk away with a win.
Jackson with 22, Billups with 23, Shoga with 19. And the Rams run away with it in the second half, and they knock out Penn State and their former head coach 86-74.
Great matchup, especially when you consider 10:30 a.m. These guys came to play entertaining basketball. The Rams walk away with a win as Penn State goes 0-3 in the tournament. It has to happen for someone.
I'm glad you showed up early at 10:30. And for the championship, Corey and I will have that coming up in about 25 or 30 minutes. VCU 86-74 over Penn State. The championship coming up.